What is happening, dudes? Thank you so much for tuning back in to Yoga for Dudes. It is great to have you once again. I appreciate you stopping by. Today we're going to talk about something a little personal, a little close to my heart, if you will, that I wanted to share with you guys because I think it really illustrates the power of yoga, why I love this practice and this science of yoga because it's helped me tremendously. So we're talking about the heart today. We're talking about atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation. I should know it by now. If you don't know what atrial fibrillation is, or afib as it's commonly referred to, it's basically an arrhythmia of the heart that occurs in the upper chambers, in the atria of your heart, that causes a very erratic and chaotic heartbeat that can be very fast, and it can also oscillate between very fast, very slow, bounce back and forth. It's not fun. It basically feels like you've got a frog in the center of your chest and it's trying to desperately get out of your body. Much like the scene in Alien when that creature flies out of the guy's abdomen. So, what does this all have to do with yoga? Well, I had my first AFib episode at about 22, 21 years old, back in 1992, 93, if I age myself there. I was a three-letter athlete, very athletic, going to the gym. I was smoking a bit at the time. I was in a band doing the rock and roll thing and living out in Los Angeles. And I basically woke up one morning, was on the phone with my sister, and felt a weird little, skip or miss in the rhythm of my heart. Kind of breathed, it went away. Felt like a palpitation. Certainly a lot of people get those. And the next thing I knew, my heart took off and was racing, not on the beat, but way off the beat. And it lasted for a long time. We're talking like 5-6 hours. I didn't have a doctor. I had to have a buddy come, take me to a doctor, find out what was going on, and eventually, I think with some medication, he got me out of it. So I didn't have the next episode for another 10 years. Somewhere in there, I started to practice yoga, and then I'd have another episode within that next year, and then it was sort of off and on. And I'm what's known as a lone afibber, which means I get 1 or 2, maybe 3 episodes a year, and then that's it. I might not get another one for another 2 years. I might get 3 more the next year. A lot of people, when they get these, they can get what's called an ablation, which is when they kind of go up and through your system and they find the area of the heart that they think is causing the problem, and they either burn it or freeze it to stop the problem. The issue is I'm not having enough episodes to be a candidate for that operation, so I have not jumped in to do that. If it were to start really affecting the quality of my life, then I would be more of a candidate to go do that and probably opt to go do that. But as it is, I manage my AFib when it happens with a little pill in a pocket regimen that I take of a beta blocker and a couple of anti-arrhythmia pills and an Eliquis, of course, because of course they're worried about a stroke happening and kaputski, if you know what I'm saying. So all of this is to say, while this AFib stuff was happening over the last 20 or 30 years or so, I did start my yoga practice and I felt good. I felt strong. Everything was great. And then I would get an episode and usually I'd have to go to the ER at that time to get things to calm down. They would give me some intravenous medicine to start slowing the rhythm down and everything. But it can be really scary because, again, your heart rate is jumping from like 180 up to 192 and then down again to 120 and then maybe down again to like 90, and then there'll be like a little gap in your EKG and then it'll shoot back to like 176. It's all over the place and it can make you a little dizzy and make you feel a little funky. And the way I used to deal with it was to go to the ER and spend, $3,500. Which I couldn't afford. And so I'd spend the rest of the year paying that off, stressing about that, which didn't help matters. And then my cardiologist finally was like, forget the ER, you're going to be fine. Let's figure out a pill in a pocket, take these pills as soon as it happens, and you'll be fine. And that's pretty much the case at this point. So how does yoga and how did the practice of yoga fit in with my AFib thing? And I guess I should say also, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a cardiologist, clearly. So do not take any medical advice from me. All I'm telling you is that the practice of yoga helped me. And here's how it helped me. It helped me to really calm down, and it helped me to breathe in the moment. So like I said, this can be super scary for a lot of people. It certainly is and was for me. I'm much better now. But you know, your heart's going out of control and you go to the ER, and that's certainly not a fun place to be hanging out. And so, you know, you get a lot of thoughts. You start thinking about a lot of different things. And I, through the practice of yoga, really started working on my breath work. And I found that if I sat quietly while I was in AFib, I could at least start to breathe and try to relax myself and try to get my mind off of what was happening, or at least dial back the anxiety some. So the breath work is the most important thing. There's an interesting thing that happens with the exhale while I'm in AFib, where I can feel everything start to slow down. And that's the parasympathetic nerve starting to relax a bit. So I can feel my heart rate slow a little bit, and it feels very comforting and helpful to be able to do that. So the first thing I do with my yoga practice, or how my yoga practice has helped, is with the breath work, right? I start to breathe, I sit like this. Sometimes I get super hot, I don't have a shirt on, I'm just sitting there breathing deeply and really just trying to like go, okay, everything's gonna be okay. The next thing is, and this is where yoga has a multitude of benefits, is obviously in the physical practice. So yoga has been shown, it's been proven that yoga is great for your heart, it's great for cardiovascular health. So that's one way, just having a regular yoga practice, going to classes, doing my own thing has been super helpful and made me feel stronger and made me feel better in my body and made me really become much more aware of what's going on in my body. So, you know, I'd say the first thing is the breath is where it's helped me. The second thing is internal body awareness. What's going on? How do I feel? How can I manage those feelings? And then, of course, from there, the mental stuff, right? Backing myself down from any anxiety that I might feel while I'm in AFib to say, hey man, you're going to be okay. You're not going to die right now. You've taken your pills. You know, the wife knows what's going on. My son knows what's going on. I just need to chill, take some deep breaths, maybe watch TV, read a book, do something, just like bring it down and start taking care of myself so that I don't start to get anxious. That's really where yoga has helped me the most, is just in dealing with the anxiety, I guess you'd say the anxiety around the AFib. It hasn't helped lessen the occurrence of AFib. I'm certainly not saying that, and I'm certainly not saying that yoga is a solution to AFib, but it is certainly beneficial and helpful in dealing with the anxiety and whatnot around the AFib, and that's huge. If you can find that for whatever your thing is, I would highly suggest trying yoga if you haven't, and developing a strong, solid practice of breath work and some mind control and the physical to really help get yourself together, say, I'm going to be okay, I'm feeling good, or I'm going to feel good in a little bit once I sort of dial things down and take care of myself. So, you know, over the years, I've been dealing with AFib, like I said, since 1992, 93. It was a real shock when it started happening. And as I've gotten older, I've had certainly more episodes. And like I said, the little pill in a pocket thing has helped me a lot. Again, check with your doctor if you have AFib, check with your cardiologist and see what they recommend for you. I would be shocked if they didn't think you should try yoga or didn't think you should develop a yoga practice. In fact, my cardiologist, who's in New Haven at Yale New Haven Hospital, wrote an article about the benefits of yoga on AFib that came out several years ago, 15 or 20 years ago. And every time I come to see him, he's always like, you got to keep doing the yoga. It's really great for you, and it's really going to help. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that personal history with you, because I think we're all dealing with something. And if you can find a practice like yoga, maybe Buddhism, or just, meditation, it can really help to just sort of dial back some of the anxiety. So there you go. That's what I have for you today. Just a little something personal I wanted to bring and to share. If you're dealing with something, I'd love to hear about it. If you're willing to share, leave me a comment below. We can discuss. If you want to do some yoga, if you're not quite sure about where to start and you want to talk to me directly, just go ahead and leave me a comment and or send me an email at thedude@yogafordudes.com. I'm happy to talk to you and find a practice or help you develop a practice that works. And I really appreciate you guys stopping by. If you like this kind of video, if you like the flow videos, whatever I've got, please think about hitting the like button, subscribing. It really helps. Maybe hit the bell so you get notified when a new video comes out. If you haven't hopped over to the yogafordudes.com website, do so. Sign up and subscribe for the newsletter. It would mean a lot. And I thank you guys so much. I know you have a lot of choices out there, videos you can watch. So I always appreciate it when you swing by and watch one of these. Have a great, great week. Namaste. I'll see you in the next one.